He also had one current and 4 deposit accounts here in the Caisse d'Epargne, just near the Louvre. In the 8 months before the crash, 40,000 francs, that's about £4,000, was paid into an account here on 5 separate occasions, each time in cash. In all, Henri Paul had just over 1.2 million francs in the bank. That's about £122,000, and no one can say where it came from. The Ritz Hotel is adamant that the money, the cash, did not come from them. So where could it have come from? I thought it'd be a good idea to go back and talk to his best friend, Claude Garrick, who revealed an extraordinary secret about Henri Paul.
All I can tell you is that he had contacts within the French and foreign intelligence services. That's all I know.
Do you know what he used to do for these services? What was he doing for them?
I have no idea. He was very discreet regarding his work.
A former member of French intelligence has suggested that the security managers of major hotels are prime targets for recruitment, and the Ritz, with its glittering guest list of the rich and powerful, would be of more interest than many.
I think it was the entire period when he worked for the Ritz, 11 years. I think he maintained his contacts during all that time.
From your experience over 4 years as an agent for MI6, would you say it's reasonable or unreasonable for Mr. Al-Fayed to express the view he has that the British security services were in some way involved in the deaths of his son and the Princess of Wales?
Well, it's a perfectly reasonable view. I've seen a plan to assassinate another world leader, President Milosevic. This was in 1992, and it was not a detailed plan, but a proposal to assassinate President Milosevic. And yes, they have assassinated people in the past. It's not something that's, although MI5 have gone on public record and stated we do not assassinate people, there's been a conspicuous silence for MI6, the reason being that they do.
What was the Milosevic assassination plan?
The plan was over 2 pages. It was written by a young officer whose name I shouldn't give on camera.
Can they cause a car to crash?
Yes, there's lots of devices. We were explaining the various devices on training in our SI's training course, of devices that can be used against vehicles. Modern vehicles, particularly high-tech sort of luxury vehicles, are packed full of electronics, and they can be disabled by very, very high bursts of microwave radiation, or I don't know exactly the frequency of it, but a very, very powerful burst of radiation. It can knock out, for example, the ESP or the ABS in a car, and the stability programs in a car, and all of those can cause a car to crash. It's exactly one of the proposals that was used in the Milosevic document. And the combination of the bright light and the tunnel made me think straight away, well, maybe it wasn't an accident.
But would the British security services and the freelance agents they employ really go so far as to kill the Princess of Wales and her lover Dodi Fayed? As we have seen, she had made some very powerful enemies, and she believed she was in danger of her life. Her friend James Hewitt says that after 3 years, Buckingham Palace decided that his friendship with Diana should stop. Then came some alarming phone calls.
When did you get threats? What did they say in them, and what sort of people threatened you?
The threats came in a variety of different forms, some sinister, some just friendly warnings. Patrick Jefferson, private secretary to Diana at that time, warned me off. Her bodyguard and a member of the royal family in person.
Who was that?
I am not prepared to say. And fairly sinister. One such example is the fact that I was warned that I might meet the same end as Barry Manakee, who was a police officer responsible for looking after Diana, who met his death in a motorcycle accident.
The princess had been particularly close to
Yes,
Mr. Manakee?
she had.
What did the princess say when you told her about that?
Well, she was concerned because she was of the opinion that Barry Malachy's accident was no accident anyway. And she was concerned for my safety.
So she took the threats very seriously?
She did.
John McNamara is Mohammed Al-Fayed's worldwide head of security. He is a former chief superintendent of the British Metropolitan Police and has been in charge of Mohammed Al-Fayed's 5-year investigation into the deaths of his son Dodi and Diana, Princess of Wales.
When Princess Diana and Dodi returned to the Ritz Hotel owned by his father at about 10 o'clock on that Saturday evening, there was a throng of paparazzi outside the front of the hotel. After the crash, we reconstructed the video footage to show who was actually watching them. And among it was 2 men who have never been identified. And we believe that these 2 men were possibly from the security services. At about 20 minutes past midnight, Princess Diana and Dodi left the Ritz Hotel to return to Dodi's apartment. It's not clear why the couple decided to leave the Ritz. In a phone conversation, Mohammed Al-Fayed told Dodi to stay there that night. The Mercedes was to leave from the rear of the Ritz, while the paparazzi focused on the limo at the main entrance. It was plain that neither Mohammed Al-Fayed nor London Security Control would have approved. Curiously, instead of taking the most direct route to Dodi's apartment from the Ritz Hotel, which was up the Champs-Élysées, it is possible that agents told Paul to drive the other route